All right, welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and get focused. Today, we are diving into a really crucial review session for the PMI-ACP exam. We're looking specifically at the absolute core of it all, which is the Agile Mindset. Think of me as your teacher for today's session. We're going to break down these tricky mock exam questions together, we'll hunt for the right keywords, and honestly, we're going to set you up for absolute success. So here's our lesson plan for today. We'll start with systemic reflection and retrospectives, then analyze the Cynefin framework, dive into the true value of customer centricity, and finally, look at handling ambiguity. Let's jump right in. All right, get those mental notebooks ready. Topic number 1 is systemic reflection in retrospectives, or moving beyond tactical issues. Okay, here's question 106. The Agile practitioner notices retrospectives focus only on tactical issues. The best action is to A. Accept team preference, B. Introduce systemic reflection props, C. Replace retrospective format permanently, or D. Escalate concerns. Now class, pay close attention here. I want you to actively isolate and highlight the keywords tactical issues and best action. The test is literally telling you that the team is only looking at immediate surface-level problems. So, as an Agile practitioner, what's the most effective way you can guide them to dig a little deeper?
Well, if you guessed B, you hit the nail on the head. The answer is to introduce systemic reflection prompts. Why? Because systemic reflection is defined as examining the root causes and the underlying systems at play, rather than just slapping a Band-Aid on a surface-level problem. It's really about coaching the team to look at the why behind the what, you know? It's about sparking a conversation rather than just forcing a sudden change.
Let me give you a really simple example to lock this in. Imagine you've got a leaky pipe in your house. A tactical issue is just, wiping up the water on the floor with a towel. And sure, it makes the floor dry for a minute, but the leak is still there. Systemic reflection, on the other hand, is looking at the actual broken plumbing and fixing the pipe itself. As Agile leaders, we don't just mop the floor, right? We fix the pipes.
So here are your key lessons to take away from this one. First, always look beyond surface-level symptoms. Second, don't force the team, but instead prompt them to analyze the big picture. And finally, your role is to guide the team to solve root causes, not just settle for quick fixes.
Excellent work so far. Let's move right along to Section 2, which is Cynefin Framework Analysis, understanding the Sense, Analyze, Respond approach. All right, question 107. In the Cynefin framework, Sense, Analyze, Respond applies to A. Obvious, B. Complicated, C. Complex, or D. Chaotic. For this one, I really want your attention entirely on that specific hyphenated phrase, Sense, Analyze, Respond. This framework categorizes environments to help us figure out exactly how to act.
And the correct answer here is B, the complicated domain. In the Cynefin framework, the complicated domain is essentially the realm of the known unknowns. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means there are multiple right answers, but you can't just guess. You really need expert analysis to discover the best solution. You sense the problem, you analyze the data using expertise, and then you respond. Time for another simple example. What is the difference between complicated and complex? Well, complicated is like fixing a car engine. It might be incredibly difficult, sure, but a trained mechanic can analyze the parts, follow the logic, and figure out exactly what's wrong. That is Sense, Analyze, Respond. Complex, however, is a whole different ballgame. It's like raising a child. There's no instruction manual or expert analysis that guarantees a specific outcome, right? You have to probe, sense, and respond as you go. Just remember this for the exam. Engines are complicated, but humans are complex. Let's review the key lessons here. First off, frameworks like Cynefin exist to tailor our problem-solving approach to our actual environment. Next, remember that complicated environments require the Sense, Analyze, Respond method. And lastly, when you're in a complicated space, you absolutely must leverage expert knowledge to find the solution. You're doing absolutely great so far. Let's head into topic 3, which is the value of customer centricity, or putting the user first. Okay. Question 108 states, a team repeatedly rejects feedback because it conflicts with technical preferences. This reflects poor A. throughput, B. customer centricity, C. documentation quality, or D. sprint discipline. Now, read that sentence again and really emphasize the clear friction happening here. The team is rejecting feedback because of their own technical preferences. In the Agile mindset, I gotta tell you, this is a massive red flag. And the answer is B. customer centricity. Look,
Agile isn't just about writing the most elegant code in a vacuum or using the newest technology just because it's fun. It's about delivering real value. Customer centricity is your ultimate North Star. It means prioritizing adapting to customer feedback way above your own internal technical comfort. Basically, if the customer needs something that challenges the technical preference, the customer wins.
Let's use a really simple example to make this super relatable. Imagine going to a fancy restaurant. Technical preference is like a chef cooking their own favorite, incredibly complex meal, perfectly executed, but totally ignoring the fact that you just ordered a simple salad. Customer centricity, on the other hand, is the chef actually listening to your dietary needs in cooking exactly what you ordered. It literally doesn't matter how technically brilliant the food is if it's not what the customer actually asked for.
So, here are your key lessons for this one. 1. Value delivery will always be more important than technical preference. 2. You've got to train your team's mindset to treat customer feedback as a gift, not just some annoying interruption. And 3. Ultimately, it is the customer, not the development team, who defines whether a product is successful or not.
All right, let's power through to our final section for today's review, handling ambiguity, or navigating the unknown. Question 109 reads, an Agile organization most effectively handles ambiguity by A. Increasing approvals, B. Creating learning loops, C. Defining all scope early, or D. Limiting experimentation. I want you to highlight the crucial keywords here, which are effectively handles ambiguity. Think about it. How does an Agile team deal with a situation where they simply do not have all the answers up front? If you picked B, you're absolutely right. The correct choice is creating learning loops. You know, in traditional management, ambiguity is usually met with fear. Managers try to increase approvals or define all the scope early, which is honestly impossible when things are uncertain. In Agile, though, we use learning loops. These are short, iterative cycles of acting, reflecting, and adapting. You basically build a little, test a little, and learn a lot. Here's one final simple example to beautifully visualize this. The traditional approach of trying to define scope early in an ambiguous project is kind of like trying to memorize a map for a city you've never been to, where the roads keep magically shifting. It's frustrating and extremely risky. Creating agile learning loops, though, that's like navigating a completely dark room using a small flashlight. You take one step, see what's directly in front of you, adjust your direction, and take the next step safely. Let's recap this final checklist of lessons. First, ambiguity requires continuous adaptation, not early prediction. We really need to stop trying to predict the unpredictable future. Instead, reduce your risk through short, iterative learning cycles. And most importantly, you need to build a team culture that embraces safe experimentation. And just like that, we've wrapped up the mindset portion of today's exam review. You've done fantastic work breaking down these concepts. But let me leave you with one final provocative thought before you go. This whole thing, it isn't just about passing a multiple choice test. In your next real-world project, how are you going to use the Agile mindset? Are you just going to wipe up the water? Are you going to fix the underlying pipes? Think about that. Apply these lessons to your daily work and go absolutely crush that exam. Class dismissed.